Hello, everyone. This week's episode is going to be a little different than the previous ones. What happened to me this week was uncomfortable, unsettling, and upsetting. The truth is that life is full of ups and downs. There are scary and sad moments alongside the funny and happy moments. And I would be doing an injustice to my audience and to myself if I kept the tough times tucked away. As a solo female traveler, I started making this series as a representative of our community. Too often we silence, excuse, or don't discuss our own stories of what really happens so that all of the people who question our intelligence and project their fears of what might happen to us can't say, "I told you so." We are always questioned and cautioned about exploration and travel from a young age in a way that men are not. When they are encouraged, we are discouraged. It's true we are more vulnerable as women. It is a harsh reality and something to be aware of, but not something that should stop us from seeing the world. It's no secret that I have had traumatic experiences with sexual assault in my lifetime. I have addressed it in my film work before. Because of that, I'm very cautious about who and where I deem to be safe on my travels. 2 weeks ago, I arrived at this farm having read 5-star reviews on HelpX and conversing with the farmer Andrew via FaceTime and phone calls. Before I arrived, Andrew had even watched my film, Mac's Garden Girl, that documented an uncomfortable experience I had with the HelpX host in Hawaii. Even after I arrived, we had lengthy conversations about victim blaming and inappropriate behavior of men towards women, during which I felt confident he was a good man with morals and ideals that matched with mine. We had nightly discussions about life and astrology and got on quite well. But isn't it the men we trust that so often betray us? The men we are vulnerable with that surprise us the most? Well, let me tell you what happened. It was Friday morning, and I had to remain inside the house to make a phone call regarding a traumatic assault from my past. Andrew and Thomas, the German traveler who you met in last week's episode, returned to the house for a coffee break. After finishing my call, I joined them in the kitchen and apologized for not being present because of my important phone call. Thomas then questioned the importance of my call, pressuring me to share what was so urgent that I couldn't participate in the morning's activity. I chose to be honest and open and revealed the significance of my phone call. My truth was met with uncomfortable silence, and the men decided to take off into town to run some errands. Upon their return, Andrew called me into the kitchen, where he stated that he was so disgusted by the information I had given him that I made him sick and uncomfortable. He continued that he could trust Thomas with his life, but that he couldn't trust me. He said that this piece of information I had given him was part of what must be a bigger story, and having a woman alone on his property with 2 men wasn't safe for him. Then he asked me to leave. I was in such shock that someone could make a traumatic experience from my past all about themselves. What does my trauma have to do with you? It is unfair for me to sit here and publicly speculate what made Andrew react this way, or what his intentions were. I'll leave that to you. But I will never understand how someone can look at an assault victim and tell them that their trauma makes them disgusting and untrustworthy. It sends the message that we are only worthy of acceptance if we are undamaged. It perpetuates fear and distrust around women who speak up and are brave enough to share their story. Andrew, you may have taken advantage of my vulnerability and shamed me for things that had nothing to do with you and that I never asked to happen to me. But you did not silence me. I will continue to share my story. It is men like you that make us women stronger every single day. My father has always said to me, "You have the freedom of your feet." So with that in mind, I immediately packed my things and hit the road, on to the next chapter of this wild journey.